$5,000 bucks? $10,000 to see a speaker. $50,000 bucks? How about $250,000? Anybody in here pay $250,000 to listen to somebody speak for an hour? Okay, so this should be very special to you, because the first cool thing that I learned about Dean was a few weeks ago. To see him speak, they paid $250,000 to see him speak. And how much did y'all pay here today? Zero. So that's first and foremost the cool thing that I want to bring to your guys' attention. That is the value you are about to get today. It's someone where other people in the executive world, the corporate world, saw $250,000 worth of value for what you're about to get. Okay? This man has been a professional bodybuilder, a personal trainer, from one of the very first personal trainers at Gold's Gym. He actually invented the program called I think the Health and Fitness Analysis, which is still to this day Gold's Gym's training program. He invented that. He became a Mr. America, became a national bodybuilding champion, one of the only people in the country to reach both levels in the fitness industry. He went on to then become a trainer for the stars. Okay, a personal trainer for those people that we see on TV saying, geez, I wish I could look like that. I wish I could be an athlete like that. I'm talking Sylvester Stallone, Mickey Rourke, Dolly Parton, Pierce Brosnan, celebrity to the stars. So this guy knows what he's talking about. He's a double PhD. Anybody in here a single PhD? Double PhD. Not only that, but he's an author. He's an inventor. Okay, multiple products this man has invented that are used all over the country, and you have seen on many infomercials. Some of you might even recognize him from infomercials that you see late at night, promoting these products he's invented. And I don't even know if can I share the latest invention news?
A little bit.
A little bit?
A little, just a little.
There is an invention Dean has created, has been working on for a few years, that kind of a small company just passed. And they might be using it. A small company called NASA has contacted Dean about one of his inventions. And I want to tell you that when we shared with him, I've only known Dean a little while now, but when we shared with him what we were doing with Successful Thinkers, when we shared with him the way that the community and the culture is being built and what we were doing here, Dean told me if I had something like this when I was first starting, when I was building a business, when I was a personal trainer trying to get clients, things like that, business would have been much different for me. And you guys feel that way? Business is now different. You have a network to plug into. So Dean saw that value, and I only had to ask once, Dean, I want you to come up to Sacramento. Dean bought his own plane ticket, paid for his own way to get here, and came up here to see you guys and hang out with Successful Thinkers for the day. He's flying back tonight. He came up here just for this, to hang out with us and be our guest speaker for the day. So without further ado, everyone stand up and give a big round of applause for Mr. Dean Tornabene.
Josh E, baby. What's up, baby?
This man, I had many bullet points, and I had to remember my bullet points. Any of you guys that are in sales, we have some salespeople in here? Yeah. Dean is responsible in one company for over $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion in sales with one of his products, and from the infomercials, over $500 million in retail sales with his products. So again, Mr. Dean Tornabene, thank you, Dean.
Josh, thanks, my man. I appreciate it, man. Hi. Well, thanks for showing. I really appreciate it. I got really early today. I'm like seeing visions right now. And of course you would have your first meeting at a bar. You're Irish. Come on. I knew that was coming. Anyway, thanks for having me. My opinions, my experiences are really different. I was born in a small town in Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh, where they made all the artillery for the war called Cannonsburg. Young guy, reading muscle magazines. Man, I want to do this. I want to go to California. Kind of Arnold was in his heyday then, so that was the dream. The problem was my parents are going, you want to do what? You want to, wait, no, that's not happening. You got to go to college. So I thought, okay, I can always go to college in California, and under the guise of this college, I can pursue my bodybuilding career, because I was convinced that I could believe these people, and that was the first lesson I learned. Belief was more important than truth. because if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. I get here, $200, black plastic leather jacket, didn't eat for a few days, didn't have any place to go. I made my way, all right? I learned quickly. Lo and behold, guess what? I was right. I started to beat a lot of guys that were heroes of mine. So I thought, this is pretty cool, man. I'm making, I'm moving, I'm grooving, winning some contests. When you're a bodybuilder, you do appearances. That's how you make money. Do appearances. Great. I'd win the show, book a bunch of appearances. Guess what happened? I looked like the Michelin Man. I should have been selling tires because I had dieted so hard for these shows, my metabolic rate went like this. Not good. I understood this from all of my school. I understood it. We learned it in school. When I was in medical school, we learned all this stuff. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, I can't do this. This isn't going to work. I got to figure out a way or take something that's going to keep me lean all year round. All right? So first thing I thought about was Eastern medicine, herbal products, natural products. This was the direction that I took. Well, lo and behold, I'm doing all my studying, and one day, I see this girl, beautiful Asian girl. Forget it. Forget about it. She was amazing. So, of course, we become friends. And I find out that her father is one of the last master herbalists in their culture, which is big, big stuff with these people. Huge. So we're talking, and I said, listen, you know, this is awesome. I can learn so much from your father. And she's kind of hedging, right? She's not going there, and I'm thinking, was it something that I said? What was going on? She goes, we have a problem. I go, what's the problem? She goes, well, my father and people like him, they don't deal with white people. And I'm going, it's no problem, right? I'm Italian. It doesn't count. What, are you kidding me? I'm in, right? I had no concept. Right. That's another thing that brought me here. Anybody with a 4-syllable last name, like Jim's, like mine, we're paisans. We're paisans. That's all there's to it. Anyway, make a long story short, I tried to drop some Italian charm on her, and it worked. I met her father, and I learned more from him than I could have learned in any book and from any professor. It was a very, very good and fulfilling education. All right, so here we go. I'm thinking, I got to figure out a way to make money. I'm working hard. I'm working at a General Nutrition Center, selling vitamins. I'm thinking, everybody asks me questions all the time. Maybe I'll train them. I go to Gold's Gym. At this point, it was like Jurassic Park. It was beautiful. People screaming, spitting up blood, beating each other. It was awesome. It was the heyday of our sport. Thank you. It really was. It was amazing. It was a heyday. So my clients were very, very wealthy, high-end people. So I would take them into Gold's Gym, and they would go, are you, like, this is unbelievable. They couldn't believe it. I go to behind the guy at the counter. I go, listen, I want to train these people today. He's going, you want to do what? I go, I want to train these people. I want to take them through a workout for money. I go, look, dude, they'll buy memberships. Good? Good. Little did I know that that day, an industry would start of personal training that is now a major industry. I mean, personal training is everywhere. And I laugh because I think of the very first days, we're charging, you know, 20 bucks an hour or whatever. Now we went up to $300, $400, $500 for a session. So at the same time, I had a terrific clientele, A-list celebrity base. I'm thinking to myself, maybe I can make a product that other bodybuilders can use, right? Which is the product that I created for myself to stay lean all year. Well, I start thinking to myself, who can I test this on that won't sue me? My family. Mom, I have 2 sisters, right? Listen, I'm sending some stuff back. They're going, do not send back anything else. We've been on the toilet for 3 days. I'm going, look, but you lost weight, right? You did lose weight, so it's working. All right. It was unbelievable. My mother's going, oh my God, I'm going to kill you. Anyway, make a long story short, I hit it. I hit the formula that worked. Next thing is, I'm making this stuff by hand. So imagine 2 capsules, powder in a bowl, 2 cats watching, thinking I'm absolutely crazy, and I'm hand capping these things. Next problem is packaging. I don't know any of this stuff. I go to the store and buy this plastic packager, like it's a heat sealer, right? So every package was different in shape. None of them looked the same. Figured that out. Listen, this is customized for you. The triangle is yours. The rectangle is yours. I'm taking total care with you because I love you very much, and these are for you. Worked perfectly. All right. So I'm training one day at Gold's. Here's the cardinal rule. You're going to love this. Here's the cardinal rule. Don't bother me when I train. It's like going to church, whatever. Don't bother me. Guy pays me to the front desk. I'm going, I told you, don't ever call when I'm training. This is my time. Phone call. Hello? Is this Dean? Click. I go back. Phone rings again. I'm going, this is it. I pick up the phone. I go, you know what? I don't know who this is, but I'll find you. I'll kill you. It's over. All right? Don't call me back. He goes, wait, don't hang up on me. He mentioned somebody's name that I knew. So I listened. This guy was Rick Hilton, Paris Hilton's father. No clue, right? I'm hanging up on this guy. I'm telling him I'm going to kill him, the whole drill. So he goes, look, Mark Hughes wants to meet you, and I'm sure most of you know who Mark Hughes is. He was the founder of Herbalife. He built Herbalife into an empire. So I'm going, meanwhile, he sets the meeting, I go. It was so lavish, this suite, and the whole event was very, very memorable, especially now what's happened with Mark and where things have gone. I go in, amazing guy, statuesque, cough suited, the whole deal. He said, look, I spent 2 years trying to knock off your product. He goes, can I buy your company? Well, at that point, I had built a distribution network of, we'll call it mom and pop, people that were selling products, and I had a really good group, and we were making money, and everyone used this as their livelihood. And I said to him, look, I can't sandbag or cut the legs off of these people who have been so loyal to me for so long, but I'll custom make a formula for you. How about that? I'll make a formula for you that's different than mine that you can sell. And we did. That formula went on to gross, I think, $5 billion in revenues. It's thermogenics was the formula. But the concept, the whole idea was that I had this belief that I could do this. And that was the most important thing that I could have. And it was a grassroots movement. Grassroots is always the way. I mean, look at MLM companies. They're very successful because there's loyalty, there's love. All those factors are very, very important. Josh mentioned something earlier. My mother is like this consummate cook, right? She's the best ever. You could get an entire team of scientists like analyzing the pot that she makes. No one could figure out how to make it taste just like she does, right? The key element, I call it the space between. It's magic. And every day, you have a chance to hit those spaces. And the way you hit them, and what my mother was doing, was putting love in this cooking, which, as we all know, is critical. When you do anything with that, it's the most powerful thing in the world that we can have. Therein lies the magic. That's what it took. And I thought to myself, all these years, you think a certain way. You want to become successful. It's about the dollar. And certainly, I heard an interesting quote by Dr. Joe Vitale. I don't know if any of you have seen The Secret. Did you ever see The Secret? He wrote the movie with his partner, and I got a chance to meet him at a speaking engagement. It was interesting. He said to me, how do you show gratitude? Interesting question, right? I could ask you. You'd probably all have a different answer. His take on it is you show gratitude by spending money. And it made sense, because when you spend money, it makes somebody happy. It is showing gratitude in a sense. And I thought it was a very, very interesting quote from Joe. I know that I'm limited for time here, and I don't want to bore you guys to tears, but that was the first incarnation of the first product that I did that did extremely, extremely well. You want to hear about some inventions, maybe? The genesis of an invention? I'll tell you, here's the best story ever. I was very fortunate because I didn't turn the mic off. I had a deal. I had a column in Muscle and Fitness and Flex, which was really good at that time. There was no internet, and I was able to promote myself. It worked really good. So the president of Weider at that time had left Weider, took it from $10 million to $900 million, and almost killed himself doing so. He went with a company called Kenton Spiegel, which you might remember was a very, very big direct marketing company. He calls me up, and he says to me, Dean, he goes, I know you make supplements. I'm with this new company now. We do infomercials. You have any ideas for equipment? Let me tell you what, when I grew up at my house, the equipment that I used was made from discarded wood piles. I mean, I had no money, nothing. There were no gyms. I had to make this stuff. So I'm thinking, yeah, I can make some stuff. I go in, I craft this huge contract, get a big advance. I'm going, now what? I mean, I see it in my head, but I'm not an engineer. I have no clue on how to do this. I remember there was a guy at Gold's Gym that was picking up weights when I trained there. We became good friends. This guy looked like Yoko Ono. He had like hair down to here. Real strange guy, but he was a good guy. I liked him. I remember he could weld. So I call him. His name's Charlie. I go, Charlie, can you still weld? He goes, yeah. I go, do you have a shop? He goes, yeah. I go, well, let me come over. Maybe we can put something together, because I'm sitting on $100 grand and I got to deliver a product. I go over his shop. was 4 doors nailed together in a black and white TV. It was, I'm like going, I'm done. I'm going to have to return this money, breach a contract. It's over. My reputation's shot. We came out with our first product, and hell or high water, we built this thing. This guy didn't have a lot of education, but he was Michelangelo with metal. It was you talk about gifted, unbelievable. We came out with our first product. We take it in. It's TV. It's glamorous. You know, I'm on the show. I'm feeling good about it. So we go in. The show test. We premiere it on the weekend. I say, hey, how'd the show do? Lady goes, we got good news and bad news. I go, what's the good news? If you market a product on TV, it's ratios, right? If you spend $1 and you make 2, it's a 2-to-1, good proposition. A 3-to-1 is a much better proposition, and a 4-to-1, and you're moving to St. Bart's and you're changing your name, right? So that's out. I go, well, what's the good news? She goes, the good news is you did a 9-to-1. Unheard of. Unheard of. She goes, but the bad news is the inbound telemarketing center had a glitch in their computer system. I'm going, oh, no, right? Horrible. We have to wait another week for this thing to test market again. Hits a 9-to-1 again. We crushed it. And from that point forward, more and more and more inventions came. And it's interesting because a lot of this stuff is visualization. I mean, face it, what's the difference between faith, visualization? There's manifestation. It's really, in my opinion, a synonym for the same thing because you give it energy. You know, people talk about hope. I talk about conviction. Conviction is a turbo Porsche. Hope is a tricycle. You got to have oomph behind the thoughts. You just can't be kind of passive about it. And as the older I get, the more I see it consistently. Always the same thing. So these inventions, and when we go in, they're going, hey, listen, can you give us mechanical drawings? I can't draw a cat, for God's sakes. I'm going to give you mechanical drawings. My friend here went to 8th grade. He's not going to give you mechanical drawings. But my friend had a cousin. His cousin just got out of, they're both from Stockton, by the way. So they're pretty local here. He goes, hey, my cousin can draw. This is the best story ever. And I have tons of them, and they're all true. He goes, my cousin can draw. I go, Charles, it isn't about drawing something cool. It's about mechanical drawings. And I'm thinking, you know what? Have your cousin draw the damn thing and just give it to me. I'll hand it in. We don't have to have mechanical drawings done anyway, so too bad. The drawings come to me FedEx. I take the drawings into Kent and Spiegel. I get a phone call 20 minutes later from their industrial designer. He goes, hey, who did these drawings? I go, Perez did them. He goes, I'm thinking, here we go. He goes, these are the best mechanical drawings we've ever seen because at that time they were using programs. It gets better. My friend Charlie's cousin, who drew this, was in jail. No, it gets better. It gets better, much better. I'm driving home from this meeting thinking, wait a minute, how could he draw this? He drew it freehand, understand, within 1/1000th tolerance. Wait, guess who had the only prototype? Me. Charles described it to his cousin, and his cousin drew it. Unbelievable. So, of course, I imported him down instantly, and he went to work with us too. And the things that we had done were, we have technologies that are so advanced. I mean, I've been kind of on hiatus for a while. I've been underground. I've done a lot of projects for other people, and I've kind of done one-offs. It's like, look, you want something, you know, your body by Jake, I'll make you whatever you want. I don't need the accolades. This is what I need. This is what I want. Do it. But now, and interestingly enough, thanks to Danny's influence and Josh as well, it's time to build my own brand, which is what I'm embarking upon now. So finally, it's like a songwriter writing all these great songs for people going, wait a minute, I want to do this myself now. I'm tired of the other stuff. So we're at an interesting point right now. It's a very, very good time. People say, hey, what do you think about setting goals? I don't think much about it, and I'll tell you why. In my mind, you have 2 options. You can look at something at the end, or you can look at it from the end. I choose to look at it from the end. I'm not thinking about how I'm going to get to that wall. Mentally, I'm at the wall. And that impression, and this is, again, only my humble opinion, that impression in your subconscious is huge. And frankly, if you take one thing from this talk today, know this. This is an undisputable fact, that anything that you ever dreamed of being, you already are. You just have to move to that awareness and claim it. It's there. You're already there. And it's very hard with traditional thinking to believe in that realm. I mean, even in school, how much positive thinking do they do? How much manifestation? Not much. It's everything. It's absolutely everything. It means everything. And if someone's thinking about doing something, do it. Make the move, because action is critical. Face it, we're all vibrating bodies. We're not solid. We're always moving. Everybody's moving. People feel energy. That's why you're all here. Hey, we're all part of, I believe this, we're all part of one. We're all part of all. So together we affect each other. And right now, we're changing the world. Make no mistake. Okay, the world doesn't need hope. It needs superheroes. That's why Thor and Hulk and all this stuff is doing so well, because people are going, man, we're in trouble. Yeah, you know what? You're in trouble, and you should think like a superhero. Because if you do, your life will change. Because you are a superhero. Make no mistake. You just have to claim it. That's all there is to it. Absolutely. I knew that when I was a kid, and I know it now, without a doubt. I mean, look at this. You're here for free. You know why you're here? You know what? You're building a culture. And to build a culture, you need one very important thing. You need passion. And I'm Italian. I'll tell you all about passion. Believe me. They'll throw you in jail for it where I come from. No doubt about it. And you have it. You have the passion. You have the love. What else do you need? Look at this. How could any of you possibly fail? You're already here. You already made it. Just go stamp and say, this is what I want to do, and do it. Execute. Believe me. Hey, I'm not leaving. I like this group. No doubt about it. I'm here for a while. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, and I mean it. Let me give you the physiology. Go to a doctor and say, where's your brain tissue? Most of them will tell you here. No. You have brain tissue here and in here. It's called gut. One thinks first and then responds. This one responds first, doesn't think. The response is absolutely critical, and it is a physiological fact that you have brain tissue here. But this one doesn't get jaded by the conscious mind. And again, this is just my opinion. This consciousness is unconscious for most people. But that is so critical, Jim, is what you're discussing. It's important. That's why you've got to be very, very certain, because your sub picks up everything. If you think, hey, I'm going to fail, you'll fail. Make no mistake. In our business, form follows function. People go, hey, you're an engineer? I don't engineer anything. That's why I can build joints that when you go to an engineer and you go, look, I need you to build this joint. Well, I can't do it. Well, you can't do it because you learned in school to do it this way. Anything is possible. And when you grasp that concept, nothing becomes impossible. And that is just a fact. Believe me. People say, hey, you believe in God? I'm going, yeah. I'm living proof he's got a great sense of humor. Okay? There's no doubt about that. And I believe it. So, I'll tell you a good story. I get a phone call. Go, look, we want you to train Pierce Brosnan for James Bond. I'm going, kick it, right? Awesome. I'm in. Tell me where. And just as a preface, he is the nicest person. He's a real man, and there's very few. People say, hey, where do you come from? I go, you know where I come from? Women give birth to men. That's the difference between where I come from and different other parts of the country. This guy was a man. He was a good man. I get the call, right? It's true. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. I'm from Pittsburgh, right? All right, that's the way it goes. We have the Steelers. Anyway. Oh, those are fighting words. My man. We love those Steelers. Right, I get the call. I'm hustling. I'm going, oh, another A-list celebrity. Here we go. I have a 9-foot Burmese python named Snuffy. So I live in an old apartment at that time. I was a kid. And this apartment had a mail slot where the guy just dropped mail in, right? Could have been a darn Unabomber. My house would have blown up. Put anything to that slot. I usually keep it taped down. That day, I didn't. My neighbor, probably, man, I tell you, I don't know how old she was. She was old, and she was sweet. And she had a 25-pound dog. And my snake got out, and I came home, and I'm going, wow, that looks like my snake. It looks like my snake swallowed a beach ball. That was the first day I trained Pierce, so I remember it like it was yesterday. So meanwhile, I'm dragging this thing back in the house. The lady's going, hey, have you seen, Little Pepper, whatever the dog's name was? I'm going, well, I wasn't lying because I couldn't see Little Pepper, but so I didn't feel bad, but you can connect the dots, but it definitely happened. So those were things, very. The other good thing is we're doing Bond, and so I sit down with the guy that's running their budgets. So I was charging Pierce a lot of money at that time. It was a lot of money. So the guy goes, listen, what are you going to charge him? And I'm thinking, I don't want to be too high. He might say I'm not going to do it. I go, okay, well, I'm going to charge him $75 an hour. He's going, can't do it. Got to charge him $300 an hour. I'm going, and you got to train him every day. I'm going, we only train 3 days. they get a budget they have to use up for every film, or they won't get allocated more for the next film. So this is gold. I'm like going, hey, what's your budget? I knew the drill the next time. Hey, what's your budget? 40 grand? Okay, divide it. We're going to train at midnight. Anytime there's a full moon, we're going to train twice. I mean, I was hallucinating all kind of stuff. So it was good. We had a lot of good stuff like that. They were really cool people. They really, really were. And plus taking them to goals, like they're going, dude, is there something wrong with this guy? I go, there's something wrong with all of us. Okay? You're just part of us now. You're part of this subculture. We miss those days, but it was really, really good time. And I laugh because when I think of bringing in these high-end celebrities and people, and now goals and most other gyms are mostly full of people just training. There's no more athletes. There's very, very few. The industry has just taken off. It's incredible. But I thought, wow, we were here from the beginning when nobody was doing anything. It was pretty cool. It was a good time to be starting something new. And I've been kind of lucky that way. When I have wacky ideas, they take off just simply because I believe them. That's it. How would somebody be afraid of something that isn't real? Fear's not real. It's not real at all. It's not real at all. And you build up, I mean, you know, it's like the bully. You smash it in the face, it goes away. I mean, take me. All right, what are you going to do? The best analogy for me is you're a kid. You're going to get a shot. You're so scared because you don't want to get a shot at the nurse's office. You get the shot. You're going, that was nothing. Give me one on the other shoulder. It doesn't exist. What you don't give energy to cannot exist. It must evaporate. It must. Quantum physics. We know that that's true. And again, you are changing. The last 10 minutes, we changed the world again. This energy that we're doing is duplicating. Make no mistake, we're all vibrating, and we're vibrating together. That energy surge, believe me, they want superheroes, they're going to get them like they have never seen before. And they'll come from groups like this. Make no mistake about that. Don't ever think of anything less because you just got way too much. This is obviously the bank account. This account gives out all day long energy, thoughts, ideas, motivation. I got to put back in that account. And that hour and a half in the gym is my time to return the equity. When I'm doing an exercise, I focus on what I want that muscle to do, or if I'm training heavy for a powerlifting meet, I focus on moving that weight. Powerlifting is a very interesting sport. It's tremendous for mental acuity. I mean, people go, well, I'm trying. Yeah, trying? You're doing. Forget about trying. How you doing? I'm hanging in there. You know what? You're hanging out too. Forget it. Lose that. You just do it. You walk the walk. Again, when you change and you get better, your frequency's got to change. Your vibration changes. And I doubt you have any problem influencing people, judging by the way you look and the kind of person that you are. So turn it up, man. Turn it up. Crank it. Hit those turbos. No tricycles in this room. Okay? All right. I think I'm done. Thank you for having me. This was a blast. And I'll see you again. You win. You're all winners. Make no mistake. And remember, everything you want to be, you already are. Go get it. Thanks.